Sports Nut Matt Johnson here, coming to you to talk about the upcoming quarterbacks for the 2022 college football season with college football and NFL quarterback analyst Crissy Froyd. And today we're talking about Devin Leary, another quarterback who really made a strong impression this past season for North Carolina State. And this is a name we hear a lot about in the past. You know, there's so much on the big name quarterbacks, the high profile programs. How did Devin Leary manage to really gather a lot of attention and become a bigger name heading into the 2022 season?
Well, I think it comes from the fact partially that he came from a smaller team. North Carolina State's not a team that's usually on the radar. And I think that the way he elevated himself helped North Carolina State to elevate itself as well. So I think he improved a lot overall to become a quarterback that now we think could be the best in the conference. Puts a lot of good velocity and touch on his throws. Knows what to do on each one. I think that he's shown that. I think he's done a lot better job taking care of the football this year. Has shown a really good sense of mobility, so that gives him a lot of things in his skill set. Finished with a 66% completion percentage, over 3,400 passing yards. Really good touchdown interception ratio, in my opinion, of 35-5. Did a really good job protecting the football and had the lowest rate of turnover-worthy plays in college football last year. So I think that just the way that he helped himself helped NC State, and then some of those games against these bigger opponents that they really contended in that no one expected them to, and just the fact that he has the ability to take an even bigger step off of that this season.
Now, you mentioned some of the areas that he improves, which is a really big thing for quarterbacks, is showing that in-season improvement. And you've also had the chance to speak to him and his quarterback coach. So what are some things that they've really worked to improve on this offseason, and how can we expect that to carry over into the upcoming season?
Yeah, so his quarterbacks coach, Tim Beck, told me that when he arrived there that Leary was a little bit novice to everything. So he's seen him really put in the work, has really good work ethic, and has really just made some huge strides in his opinion. Now this offseason that he mentioned, they've worked a lot on a quicker release, a lot on off-balance throws, arm angles, stuff like that, because in an offense, the RPOs mechanics are not everything. They're not trying to throw with perfect mechanics every time. So I think just adjusting to that, and Devin's played under a lot of different offensive schemes in general. So this is a little bit new to him still. So I think that just having another year in this and really being able to break himself in, he's got a really good arm. I think there's a lot of really good things he can do.
And you mentioned the arm, you mentioned the familiarity with the scheme he's going to have going into next year. What is a trait that you really think really stands out when looking at Devin Leary that will help him, especially going to the season, makes him stand out from some other quarterbacks?
I think it's more intangibly than anything else. I mean, we've spoken about the tangibles he brings to the table that are good, and I think that they help him. It is a broad skill set, the ability to do a lot of things for his team. But I think it comes down to always giving his team a chance to win. Tim Beck told me, he said, we're never out of the fight when we have Devin Leary. And he's been a player who's come in clutch and a lot of times, and especially in that big 34-30 win over their in-state rival UNC, through 2 touchdown passes in 63 seconds. That's something that you don't expect. And I mean, it can't be taught. The quarterback being able to step up in that type of pressure, it's something that just comes naturally. And I think it's something that he's going to build off of that shows a lot about where he is from a mental aspect.
And when you look at the improvements he's made, the things he's done this offseason, and just the familiarity he's going to have going to the next season, this game, do you think there's an opportunity for him to become the best quarterback in this conference by the end of the season?
Yeah, I think it's going to be closely contested between himself and Tyler Van Dyke, and a lot of that's going to depend on whether or not Tyler Van Dyke is the same guy that we saw last year and continues to build upon that for himself. So I think that Devin does very much have the ability to take that, and I think that he showed the makings of that last year. I mean, this conference is not the way that we're used to seeing it, with Clemson coming out on top and that being the clearly defined quarterback. So things are shaken up, and Devin Leary definitely has a chance.
And just overall, is there any what you're really looking forward to seeing from him in this upcoming fall?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching how much of a run that North Carolina State can make. I know that Devin's dead set on making the postseason, on this being a team that can contend for the national championship. Obviously, those sound like very, very lofty goals, but I mean, he's a guy who's already in the Heisman conversation. So I think that they've got some good pieces there. And I think that if a team is going to shock the nation this year, I think they've got a good chance of doing it.